My name's Ken Reese. I'm a potter, teach lessons at the Art Center occasionally. I have work in the gift shop at the Art Center at the Estelle Stair Gallery. I have work in the Barry Brown store at the Barry Brown Studio Clay Studios at the Corpus Christi Art Center. I do a lot of hand building. I rolled these slabs previously on my slab roller out in my shop, and I rolled them to about 3/16 or 1/4 of an inch thick. I had taken a metal flexible rib and had smoothed both sides of the slab, and in both directions. And besides rolling it in 4 directions, I've worked both sides in both directions. And this helps to relieve all the stress in the slab so that when it's fired, it's more likely to stay flat. Now, I took my name stamp, my Frank, and I put a little cornstarch on the back of the slab, put my name in here. This surface here will be the bottom of the platter. Now, these platter molds that I have are just made on some plain plyboard using some cove molding to make the edges. And they're cut, mitered on the corners, and just glued on. So they're about 8 by 10 inches. Now I lay this on here, and then when I flip it, hopefully it turns loose of the slab and just lays down on the platter mold. Now then, what I do now is take and work the slab down into the platter mold. You have to be really careful when you do this, or you'll stick your fingers through the slab. I've had several students can attest to this. You raise the edge of the slab up and you work it to where it falls down in. You don't want to stretch the clay. You just want it to fall into place. And you want to gather the sponge up in a ball rather than sticking your finger through it like that. So I go around it twice like this. Here's where I started. Now turn around and go the other direction. And here again, that's kind of trying to equalize the directional forces that you put into the clay. For those of you that throw clay, you know what I'm talking about. If you take a cylinder you got started up, and if you make a vertical line on it, or a vertical mark, and then throw it from the inside, you'll see that mark will form a spiral around the piece of clay. Now then, this is down pretty tight. It's still got some way to go. If you look at this, if you can see it, it's got a little bit of an edge here, which makes a natural bottom on the platter. So what I'm going to do now is work this down into the corners. And if I'm doing what I'm telling you, when I get through with this, there won't be any finger marks or holes in this clay in the corners. It takes a little bit to do this. If you do it gently and let the clay move a little bit at a time, it'll have less stress in it. It has time to adjust to its new position. Now then, we're at a point now where you have to make a decision. Today I'm going to make it with flat edges, and what I do, I come in and turn these edges down like this. Work these corners down good where they're sharp or defined. Now then, the next step is to trim. Now these are some really expensive tools that I have. I buy them at a clay store called Dollar Tree. They come 4 for $1. And every student that I have that works these, I give them one because everybody needs a good, expensive tool. Now, when you cut these off, I start away from the clay, and then you hold the knife. I try to hold it exactly vertical. And then when I get to the end, I hold with my thumb and cut into my thumb. And that keeps from stretching that clay on that corner. Now you notice I'm not trying to cut in at the corners. I start away from the corner. That way you can go back and cut it like this, and it'll give you a good sharp square corner. And it also puts less stress in the clay because you're not stretching it. Now then, what we have here is a little 8x10 platter, 8x12 platter that'll wind up about 7x11. Now what I do now is two things, because when clay fires, after it's fired, sharp edges are really sharp. They're just like, in fact, I have a ceramic knife in the kitchen, and you can make them just as sharp as metal. What I do, I go in and barely clip these corners to get rid of those. That saves a lot of chipped corners and a lot of little dings on stuff where you bang them into cabinets or whatever. And then the other thing I do, this sponge has still got the slip on it, and when I smooth it down, I'll leave it on I go in and gently turn these corners down. Now the reason I do this is that when somebody's using this platter for food, they'll dip something out of it and it'll have something stuck on the spoon, and invariably they'll whack it on the edge to get the stuff out of the spoon or off of the knife or the fork. And if you've got a sharp corner there, the first thing it's going to do against a piece of silverware or plate, metalware, is chip. So I round these corners. And I always work from the corner end to the middle. That way you don't stretch the corner out. Okay, the next thing is to let this dry, and the way I let it dry is I take a bat, a piece of sheetrock bat, and I lay it on top and let it dry, and that keeps it flat and smooth. Now when it dries to bone dry in the mold, it'll be exactly 1 inch shorter and almost about 3/4 of an inch narrower. And after it's fired, it'll shrink up about another 1/4 inch in each direction. So if you're looking for a size when you're finished, you have to make allowances for that. And a story that one of my potter friends tells is she used to do commercial ware, and she had a lady order a set of dishes, and she ordered the plates 12 inches. And my potter friend tried to talk her out of it. She said, no, you need 11 or less. And she said, no, I want 12 inches. So she made her this really expensive set of dishes, 12 inches. The lady got them. She wouldn't fit in her cabinet because all standard cabinets have 11-inch shelves. And she got really upset because they wouldn't fit. And after some discussion, she agreed to buy another set of 12 plates that were 10.5 inches finished. And so anyhow, you need to take those things into consideration. This covered will take a good week to dry, and then after it's fired, then it'll be glazed. And in the next little set of videos, I'll show you how I decorate these. Here's one with the sea turtle on it. And when we do the next one, I probably won't do a turtle, but I'll do something like this, and I'll show you how I do that. So thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time.